Okay guys, so in Photoshop, go to File, New. I usually start with 8.5 by 11. Now go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm gonna open my Mickey image. I'm gonna make them bigger. Doesn't have to be huge. I'm gonna select this Move tool over here to get that away. Now I'm gonna go to my Quick Select Magic Wand tool and select this background. Okay. Before I can delete it, I have to right click on my layers over here and go to Rasterize Layer. Now you can either go to Edit Cut or hit the delete button. I'm also going to delete any other little spots. Okay, so now he is completely backgroundless. I'm going to go to Select, Deselect. Now I'm going to go to Layer, New Layer. Okay, now this is the one I'm going to use to do my outline. So you can zoom in. It helps if you have a touchscreen computer. Otherwise, you can zoom in manually by hitting View, Zoom In. I am going to zoom in with my fingers. What you want to do is outline his entire shoes. So you're going to go to your brush tool. You can use black as your color. You select that down here on the bottom. The size, we're going to make it 2 pixels. So it's not very big. Now, I'm going to zoom in even more. You could do this with your mouse. You can do it with your finger. It depends on what kind of computer you have. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to go around and outline his entire shoe. Don't worry about all these little lines because you're going to go back later and clean this up. Alright, so I did a really rough outline. Now normally I would take more time and try to make it more precise, but I'm trying to go fast here. On my layer that I did that, I'm going to right click and go to Blending Options. Now I already have this set as a pattern. I did a video on how to do this, but I can show you again. Actually mine disappeared. I hate it when it does that. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and I am going to open this image I saved for my pattern. And I'm going to go to Edit, Define Pattern, okay. Go back to my Mickey Mouse, double click this top layer or right click and go to Blending Options, back to Pattern Overlay, and I'm going to click on this Louis Vuitton pattern. Okay, never mind, hang on. Backspace, Magic Wand tool, select this spot right here and Paint Bucket. I'm going to fill it in. Oh, my opacity set at 70 then. Okay, so it did that, which means that I have an open space somewhere in here. Hang on. Okay, now that I fixed my open space, I'm back at my Magic Wand tool. I'm selecting this shoe, and I'm going to fill it with the Paint Bucket tool here. Why is my opacity? There we go. Now I'm going to go to Select, Deselect. Don't worry about all those messed up lines. Now I'm selecting my other shoe and I'm doing the same exact thing. Select, Deselect. Now I can go back on this layer and go to my Blending Options. Pattern Overlay. Select my pattern. Okay, now I'm going to change the scale to a little bit smaller. Okay, we could do that. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to go back to my Mickey layer and clean up this outside edge. Go to the eraser. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, but not too small. Let's say about 20. So now I'm going and I am deleting any of this yellow on the outside. Oops. Try not to delete his leg. It helps if you lift up every now and then so that if you have to undo it, it doesn't undo everything. Okay, now that I have most of the yellow that I don't want, I'm going to do a couple little spots over here. I'm going to go back to my shoe layer, go back to the blending options. I'm going to do a stroke. Ooh, okay, now I'm going to do pattern. Select my pattern. I'm going to make this super tiny. Just enough to cover those spots I missed. Okay, that should be fine. Don't worry about these spots in the middle that you're going to do something else with. Okay. You can go around the edges and blur out these lines. The blur button is over here on the left, just to make it a little smoother on the outside. It'll also help close in any of those gaps. Okay. Now for those, I'm going to do another layer, new layer. These lines, we did a lighter brown. So I am going to go to my color picker over here. It's an eyedropper tool. And I'm going to click this dark brown. But what I'm going to do is click on the color right here. And I am going to try to find a lighter brown for that. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to my brush tool. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's try around 8. And what I'm going to do is make this line this should probably be lighter though. Hang on. Let's do the color picker on this light brown and make it a little bit lighter. Okay, now there we go. Like I said, it really does not have to be perfect. Okay, we're gonna do that again over here. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back to my blur tool and kind of blur that. Kind of just blends it together. If you blur too much, you're gonna erase the color. So once you start doing that, I would stop. Now you can, what I did was I went with the darker color, brown, and then did my edges over here. So I want another layer. Every time you do something new, I would make a new layer so that they're all separate. Just in case you have to go back and delete it. Okay, I don't like that. Let's do a little bit darker so that we can see it. So it's like the crease of the shoe, okay? And I know there was another one up here. Okay. I am not an artist. I do not know how to draw. So, if I can do it, you can do it. Now we're gonna blur that. Okay, I'm gonna take my eraser tool and just barely touch these edges where those lines are. And I have mine on a soft. If you go up to the size, you can select the hardness. I have mine turned down so that I'm not getting a really harsh line where I'm erasing and it's more subtle. Okay, I'm gonna go back to view, fit on screen. So there's the shoes. Now you're gonna do the same thing for his outfit. Now since we're running low on time, I finished his outfit and I added the sunglasses. Now how I did that was I went to File, Place Embedded. I got my sunglasses. I'm doing the same thing. You gotta right click over here, rasterize layer, select the background, delete it. Now these were really easy. Go to your little square over here, go to the elliptical one. Oh shit. Okay, when you do this, hold in the shift key and then click so that your circle stays even. Okay, there's my circle. What in the world? Alright, hang on, don't do that. Layer, new layer, circle. Hold in the shift key. Okay, now you can move it around without messing up the background. And you're gonna right click and go to fill. Color, change it to pattern, and then select your pattern that you want. Hit OK, and there's that. You can mess around with the size. Once you get that correct, you would go to Edit, Free Transform. No, not on that layer. Okay. Hang on, guys. Get out of that. Okay. Then what you do, after you fill in your other eyeglass over here, right-click on this layer 1 and go to Merge Down. So now your glasses and the pattern are on the same layer. So then go to Edit, Free Transform, and you can move these around. You can change the position, the size, and you're gonna try to line it up however you want it on his face. So you could put them however you wanted. You see how I did mine. There is that. I'm gonna delete it. I already did my glasses. Go to File, Place Embedded, and what I'm gonna do is select that picture I used for a pattern, and I'm gonna change the sizing of it. I'm gonna unselect this link right here so that I can make it shorter but longer so that it matches how I wanted it. So I'm gonna say about like that would be fine, but I'm gonna take that layer right here and move it underneath Mickey Mouse. So now Mickey's in front. Now what I did, I typed out my words. We're running out of time. Type out my words. I use the Futura. That is the font they use for Louis Vuitton. Make your size however you want it. Move it where you want it. Okay. I did have this a different color, but I only have about 30 seconds left. So take your brush tool, make sure you select this same color brown, take the brush tool. Okay, you gotta rasterize your layer and just brush over, oh shit, don't go off of it, but brush